for subpar services. At Finance Pal, we know your pain. We're small business owners who understand your tax and accounting needs. At Finance Pal, we take over your books and design a program custom tailored to fit your needs. Whether it's bookkeeping, payroll, bill pay, inventory tracking, or taxes, we have you covered. We handle some or all of these services for one flat, affordable, low monthly fee. Stop worrying about your books and drowning in paperwork. Let us worry while you focus on growing your business. This setup is easy, and we give you the tools and technology to make your monthly finances streamlined and organized. Call now at 800-453-0694 for a free business assessment. That's 800-453-0694.
Reserve says the economy is going to need more help. What the central bank is doing while Congress remains stalled. Back with that in a moment.
Key.com/tech trends is a great resource for not only those interested in technology and cybersecurity, but also for companies who are ready to go public. At Key.com/tech trends, you'll find videos and testimonials from CFOs, business leaders, and owners. And you can gain valuable insight on real-life topics, including timing, metrics, and connecting with the right banking team. For more information, go to Key.com/tech trends today.
Hi, I'm Greg Miner. As the founder of a small business, I know firsthand how difficult it can be to manage through cash flow problems. When I tried to borrow money, the banks wouldn't touch me and I got a lot of fast talk from loan brokers. That's why we founded Merchant Capital Source 10 years ago, to help small business owners like you get the funding you need without getting the runaround. We'll fund your business from $5,000 to $200,000, and because we're a direct lender, there's no middleman to cause delays or cost you money. If you've been in business for 6 months and have sales of at least $15,000 per month, we can approve you within hours and put cash in your account within 3 days. The process is fast and easy, and the best part is that no tax returns, financial statements, or business plans are necessary. Experience the Merchant Capital Source difference and get cash for your business today.
Apply online at mcscash.com or call 800-231-6191. That's 800-231-6191. 800-231-6191. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California Finance Lenders Law license.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies. They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-324-4522. 800-324-4522. Don't wait. Call now. 800-324-4522. 800-324-4522.
This is not an offering to sell a franchise. Franchise offerings are made through the franchise disclosure document. Ask for details. Do you have a high-stress corporate job? Are you tired of working for other people? Do you want to invest in a business that makes a positive impact in your community? Express Employment Professionals is looking for franchise owners in your area to transform people's lives. With an Express franchise, you are a hands-on leader and relationship builder in a recession-resilient industry. It's a great way to benefit your community by helping people find jobs and helping local companies find employees. As Entrepreneur Magazine's #1 staffing franchise for 9 years running, we average $6 million in annual sales and have a proven track record of helping franchise owners create businesses that thrive. You'll get all the training and ongoing support you need from industry experts. Now is the time to own an Express staffing franchise. To find out more, go to expressfranchising.com. That's expressfranchising.com. expressfranchising.com.
Weekdays on CNN.
We're getting more and more information by the hour.
Join Wolf Blitzer in the Situation Room.
Still relatively early in the investigation.
The command center for reports from around the world. The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer. Weekdays at 5 on CNN, Sirius XM 116.
Good news for borrowers, not great news for Savers Wednesday from the US Federal Reserve. It's planning to keep interest rates near zero, potentially for years to come, to help the US economy recover from the COVID crisis. CNN's John Defterios joins us now to explain the decision and what it might mean for investors and the economy. Good to see you, John. So this was a clear signal from the Federal Board Chairman. Rates stay down for longer, but Wall Street and overseas markets were not impressed. Why is that?
Well, you know what? There's no simple remedy. That's the reality, Rosemary, because we're in that slog here of the second wave. And that's why Jerome Powell kind of signaled more stimulus is needed. Let's take a look at what the U.S. futures are telling us right now. They're down across the board, around 1% to 1.3%. That matches the losses that we saw in Asia and currently underway in Europe at the same time. But Jay Powell was very clear with his messaging, as I was suggesting recession may not be as bad as we expected, a negative 4% instead of a negative 6.5%, but that's predicated on the Troika moving in and finding common ground on the stimulus package. House Democrats, Senate Republicans, and even the White House. Donald Trump was even suggesting to the Republicans in the Senate, don't be so stubborn here, we need to get a deal done. And there's a gap between $1.5 trillion and some $2.3 trillion in the House, and resistance from the Republicans to provide support to states and cities who are underfunded right now. They don't think it's the role of the federal government. We're going to get a snapshot here on the jobless benefits again, and this is why Jerome Powell was worried, Rosemary. 850,000 is the number that's expected in less than 4 hours, with constant claims at 13 million. This is something we've never seen in our history. So improvement, interest rates stay low, but we need more stimulus. And Rosemary, that translates into a lot more debt for the next generation.
Right, it does. John Defterios joining us live from Abu Dhabi. Many thanks. And just this quick programming note, be sure to catch CNN's Town Hall with Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden, moderated by Anderson Cooper at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 a.m. Friday in London, 8 a.m. in Hong Kong, only here on CNN. And thanks so much for your company. I'm Rosemary Church. Early Start is up next. You're watching CNN. Have yourselves a great day.
That's 800-894-9055. 800-894-9055.
At Podium, we work with over 55,000 local businesses, and we've had a front row seat as they use Podium's messaging tools to navigate these new challenges. They're staying in touch with customers, connecting remotely with website visitors, and collecting payments, all without contact, through text. That's why we're offering our messaging tools for free to every local business in the U.S. Go to podium.com/radio to get started for free. That's podium.com/radio.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/XM. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/XM. That's forhims.com/XM for your free online visit. forhims.com/XM.
This is Sirius XM Radio.
I'm Wolf Blitzer. Join me in the Situation Room for breaking news.
The Situation Room.
anything but. President Trump contradicting his own top health officials yet again on the importance of wearing masks and the timing of a vaccine. It started when CDC Director Robert Redfield, testifying before Congress Wednesday, delivered this sobering reality check about the vaccine for the general public.
I think there will be vaccine that initially be available sometime between November and December, but very limited supply and will have to be prioritized. If you're asking me when is it going to be generally available to the American public so we can begin to take advantage of vaccine to get back to our regular life, I think we're probably looking at late second quarter, third quarter, 2021.
That timing, inconvenient as it may be for an incumbent president, is in line with what other experts have said. And the president even told Bob Woodward back in the spring that it would probably take a year to develop a vaccine. But just a few hours after Dr. Redfield spoke to Congress on Wednesday, the president said he was wrong.
I think he made a mistake when he said that. It's just incorrect information. And I called him, and he didn't tell me that, and I think he got the message maybe confused, maybe it was stated incorrectly. No, we're ready to go immediately as the vaccine is announced.
Now, on the subject of masks, here again is what Dr. Redfield told Congress.
These face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. If we did it for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, we'd bring this pandemic under control. I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine.
The most important tool. Redfield is saying this on the same day another White House staffer tested positive for the virus. The president still refusing to follow the science, opted to throw Redfield under the bus.
When I called up Robert today, I said to him, what's with the mask? He said, I think I answered that question incorrectly. I think maybe he had misunderstood it. I mean, you have two questions. Maybe he misunderstood both of them.
Turns out Dr. Redfield didn't misunderstand the question. After Trump spoke, he tweeted this, quote, "The best defense we currently have against this virus are the important mitigation efforts, including wearing a mask." This isn't just semantics. The president is continuing to mislead the public about a virus that has already killed 197,000 Americans, and with 47 days to go until this election, apparently hopes the voters will simply take his word over the advice of his own health experts.
All of this continued misdirection and confusion at a time when the virus is showing signs of resurgence. Cases are now up in 23 states. On Monday, it had been 9. Now, the director of the National Institutes of Health put the situation we're in this way.
Those who are vaccine hesitant have had their hesitancy enhanced by a variety of things that are happening right now, particularly the unfortunate mix of science and politics.
Dr. Collins says data suggests anywhere from a third to half of Americans
inches of rain in Pensacola, 30 plus inches of rain, which is 4 months of rain in 4 hours at some point. So it is very bad.
Parts of Florida and Alabama were submerged by flooding. Rivers rose near dangerous levels, and several counties were put under curfew to keep residents safe. One woman who rode out the storm in Gulf Shores, Alabama, says it looks like a war zone, and the threat is clearly not over yet. CNN's Paula Sandoval live in hard-hit Gulf Shores, Alabama. You've been there riding through this storm. Tell us what's happening.
Well, Christine, some of these people telling us that the worst isn't over because they still have the potential financial hardships to overcome. And you do have, obviously, Gulf Shores, you mentioned a little while ago, Orange Beach, right next door. These are those Alabama seaside communities that have had to make that very difficult decision to essentially close off to tourists, which is really their lifeblood here, what maintains them afloat. The local tourism board making that decision yesterday and making that tough decision because not only is the infrastructure still not able to sustain visitors, but you see behind me what are multiple businesses. It's really a snapshot of what we found in this small community since yesterday here. Many communities still dealing with coastal flooding. There's still widespread power outages and also significant structural damage to some of these buildings right here. So when you hear from some of the business owners, including a 26-year-old Janelle Hawkins, feels that it is necessary to try to get their community back on the ground. In fact, Hawkins even rode out the storm yesterday.
I definitely wasn't expecting it to be that bad. I wish I would have, you always wish that you would have known and stuff, looking back, hindsight's 20/20. But at the same time, you just cross your fingers and hope.
This storm making landfall almost 16 years to the day when Hurricane Ivan also took a very similar path of destruction here. In fact, there were many people who had rebuilt and lost much of what they had back in 2004, and now obviously facing that reality of having to clean up again. But we should mention, though, by the way, that closure to tourists that is expected to last at least 10 days. They should be open again come September 26th. It's a day that many businesses say can't come soon enough. Guys?
Polo, I know people want to get out there and inspect the damage and everything, but these are dangerous moments right after a hurricane. Still down power lines, still a lot of stuff in the water, so everyone be careful there. Paula Sandoval in Gulf Shores for us. Thanks.
Well, after historic rainfall along the Gulf Coast, Sally has now been downgraded, but it's still going to bring heavy rain to the southeast. Meteorologist Pajam Javahiri has the latest.
Good morning, guys. Yes, the latest with tropical depression now, Sally. About a 35-mile-per-hour storm, almost located entirely over the state of Georgia, would eventually rain itself out along the Carolinas into portions of Virginia. Could still see 5 to 7 inches. Some areas maybe 8 or 9 inches into the higher elevations of Georgia. But along the coast, that's where we picked up 2 feet in Pensacola, Florida. Again, 4 to 5 months worth of rainfall in some of these areas in a matter of 24 to 36 hours. And with those strong winds, nearly 600,000 customers, exceeding 600,000 customers without power along the Gulf Coast as well. Peak hurricane season continues. Notice a couple of areas of interest, especially the 60% chance they're off toward the west coast of Africa. And you notice the names, only one name left. We've exhausted 20 of the 21 names. Wilfred is the only remaining name before we kick it into the Greek alphabet. This is the area I'm also concerned about, into the southern Gulf of Mexico. Models at this point all over the place. The general consensus is it will strengthen and move over very warm waters before it heads northbound. We'll follow this into next week, guys.
All right, Pedro, thank you so much for that. The central bank signals it is ready to be very patient to help the economy with a long recovery.
The culture, the music, the pride. It's Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're celebrating with 30 days of exclusive interviews and performances. Hear from Latin superstars like Banda MS, Sag, Pedro Capó, y más. Hispanic Heritage Month, now through October 15. On Caliente, Sirius XM Channel 158, and across our suite of Latin music channels, available on the Sirius XM app.
This is David John from ABC Shark, talking to business owners about how to get more buyers, better buyers, more profitable buyers, all without any real investment risk. My own personal mentor, marketing legend Jay Abraham, is the absolute master of generating high profit growth. He 150 ways your business can acquire no cost, no risk referrals. Do you want to know how to get your business going and growing faster? The safest way that I know is getting others to recommend and refer their buyers, customers, family, and friends to buy from you. Jay Abraham is my go-to source for high-volume referrals. He can become your source too. Learn Jay's 150 strategy referral mastery system. Go to refermorebuyers.com. That's refermorebuyers.com. Again, that's refermorebuyers.com.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshares. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, well, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sounds crazy, right? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-729-4040. 800-729-4040. 800-729-4040.